A Cleveland podcast, all things Cleveland sports, with your host, John Suchan. Good day and welcome to another episode of the Johnny Cleveland podcast. How is everybody on this Friday, July 14th? Let's see, I'm trying a little background music here. We'll see what we're going to go with this lofty music in the background. I don't like it. Do you like it? I don't like it. Let's try. This is mine. Yep. The Into Space intro. I always like this one. We'll play it quietly so you can still hear me. And again, welcome everybody. It is a Friday, July 14th, like as I just said. Yes, I am. If you're watching this on, Twitter, Facebook, I am dressed up. I'm not wearing my Cleveland apparel. Background, if you're watching this, you got the Browns NFL draft from a couple years ago, but I am wearing maroon. I know I'm not wearing the Browns colors. I am going up to Wooster, Ohio this afternoon and looking forward to that. Going to see a performance at the Ohio Light Opera, or of the Ohio Light Opera, at the old Freelander Theater in Wooster, Ohio. Worcester. It's Worcester, folks. It's not Wooster. I keep saying Wooster. I say that in honor of my late grandfather, Edward Suchan, when we first moved to Worcester, when I was a youngster, on his audio tapes that they would send us, he would oftentimes refer to Worcester as Wooster. And so I like to say Wooster. And a lot of you like to say Wooster if you first see it, because it does look like the word rooster, and it's spelled the same way. Anyway. So I'm going up there to Worcester and hanging out with my dad and mom. We're going to go see a performance at the old Freelander Theater there at the College of Worcester. And it's going to be the Arizona Lady Ohio Light Opera. If you have never participated or gone to Worcester or want to do something over the summer months, it is a great venue, a great place to go see some amazing musicals, drama performances. They perform a lot of Gilbert and Sullivan musicals. This one is not Gilbert and Sullivan. It is called Arizona Lady. I don't know who created the show, but I'm excited. I used to work there for the Ohio Light Opera when I was a kid. There used to be an usher. And so being able to go back all these years later, and having not been to a performance in years, is a real thrill for me. I know I'm a big sports junkie, but I do like my occasional music. I was in the band back in the day, the orchestras back in the day. Worcester had a really good high school band program, and I transitioned that over when I went into college, went to Hope College, and was in their orchestra. But music and all of that has always been part of my life. And so it's always nice, though, to have a little bit of a mix, isn't it? Not only am I a diehard Cleveland fan, like all of you who are listening, hopefully, but I'm also, I love music. And it really does help the soul sometimes if you can escape into the music. And I like it. So looking forward to it. I'll let you know how the performance goes. Going to hang out with the parents, which is always a positive. On these, we're getting kind of into the dog days of summer, and I get to go back to my other gig, my job. By day, I'm a school counselor, and many of you know that if you listen to this show. By the way, we are part of the Fanatical Elves Network, and we would love for you to follow our network. You can follow us on Apple, Spotify, iHeartRadio, TuneIn, any platform that has podcasting. We will be on. Find us, follow us, subscribe to us. We have a great running list of shows that go on every week. Earlier today, if you listen to the Fanatical Elves Network, you heard the Browns Blitz with Rod Bloom. Rod is an exceptional guy who does podcasting, and he does shows with his brother Jeff, and they've been doing their show for years. And he came on board with us several months ago, and I can't be happier that he's joined our crew. He puts out some great content. He's on episode 206. Interviewed a great guy named Jeff Rich last night. The interview is on today, so check that out on the Browns Blitz. Last night, we also had the Fanatical Elves show, and yours truly was part of that with Elliot, the Village Elliot. Just a great guy, knowledgeable beyond knowledge, history buff, Browns just expert in all things, and he is actually a rocket scientist. And so that he joined me for our Fanatical Elves show last night. And we also had our special contributor, our youngster in the group, Sam. Sam is all the way down there in Dallas, Texas, at the ripe age of he's only, I think, 15, maybe 16 years old now, but he is a rising podcaster, loves the Browns. He has his own podcast called Break Down the Browns, and or Browns Breakdown. He will be joining our programming more often, and his podcast too will be part of the Fanatical Elves Network. In addition, we have the left guard, Joel Cade, who does a wonderful job of both doing his What the Elf Was That. In addition, he partners up with Elliot, and they do the football philosophy and rocket science. Besides that, we also have Steve Gill down there in Nashville, Tennessee, and he brings the Southern flair to all things Cleveland Browns. He has his own show called the Dog Pound South podcast, so you can catch that. In addition, we got a couple extra shows that we have every weekend. We have the Stadium Mustard show, and also the Any Given Sunday kickoff show. That show will be used primarily as we get closer to the football season and during the football season to have a kickoff before games start. And we'll also have post-game reactions to contests. There's some opportunities that I will have later on this football season that I'm excited to be able to share eventually. But I will be in attendance at the Browns games, like many of you. But I may have some additional access to the Browns. And so looking forward to that opportunity. I'll give you more details as we get closer to the season. The season is right around the corner, and training camp starts, I think, next week on the 19th of July. That's when the rookies report. I think the 21st is when the veterans report. So it is coming fast and furious, and we couldn't be happier because it's been a little dull around here. I did talk last night about our Brownies, and several of them got married over the summer. Yes, several of them did. Harrison Bryant, clean-cut Harrison Bryant. He married his wonderful wife, Sydney, and found some. If you want to Google their wedding, you can Google it on the internet. Just type in their names, and they have their whole wedding website there, and you can read all the details. That included a 56-passenger bus that they had for their guests. It looked like a wonderful wedding. Also, Tommy Tagawa, I can never get that name right, but the former Ohio State defensive lineman, he got married to his lovely bride, Allie. They eloped in Hawaii. Unexpected, but very exciting for family and friends there. And finally, we had the new Cleveland Brown, Juan Thornhill, who's coming over from the Kansas City Chiefs, who married his lovely wife, Reagan. They did it up well. They got married at the PGA National Resort there, I think out there in Palm Springs, possibly out there in California. So congratulations to all those guys. Hopefully those wedding bills and being married now will make the Browns a definite Super Bowl contender. Not, but speaking of Juan Thornhill, he used to play for the Kansas City Chiefs, and I don't know if any of you have been watching any of these new series on Netflix, and I really hadn't until recently. And they have a series called The Quarterback, it's called Quarterback, and they followed Patrick Mahomes, Marcus Mariota, who's the quarterback for the Atlanta Falcons, and they also followed Kirk Cousins, who's the quarterback of the Minnesota Vikings. And I've only watched a few of the episodes, but it's really intriguing. They follow these players on and off the field, really exclusive content that you wouldn't find anywhere else. So if you have Netflix, I would really encourage you to check that out, especially if you're a football fan. It really gives you sort of the inside scoop on some things that, we always speculate as fans. What are these guys like? What do they talk about when they're on the field, off the field, when they're at home with their families? And it's really interesting, cool thing. Kirk Cousins played at Michigan State. He actually grew up in Western Michigan, where my two sons live, Clay and Alec, over there in Grand Rapids. And just a neat character, very humble, big family, younger kids, and just a neat story there. Patrick Mahomes. I didn't realize Patrick Mahomes, he started dating. Well, his wife currently, and I don't remember her name off the top of my head, but she and him were like best friends in middle school. And they talked at the beginning of the show about how they kind of became more serious boyfriend girlfriend when they got into high school. A lot of their friends thought they were just friends, and they were, and then that changed, and now they've been married, and they have one child, and I think another one on the way. So congratulations to them. So Marcus Mariota, that's another really intriguing story. He was the star of the league when he first was drafted and played for the Tennessee Titans, and then he lost his job to Ryan Tannehill, and now he's got this full-time gig in Atlanta trying to make his way back. But it's neat stuff. So again, check that out. All right, folks, we're going to pause for a break. This is the Johnny Cleveland podcast. We will be right back. Okay, we are back on the Johnny Cleveland podcast. I'm your host, John Suchan, and just happy to have you here on this July 14th, the Friday. Beautiful day here in the Buckeye State. I'm making my way up to Wooster, Ohio here in a little bit to go watch a great performance of the Ohio Light Opera Theater up there at the College of Worcester, and can't wait. I was sharing earlier that I haven't attended one of these events for many years. I used to be an usher when I was a child and a kid in high school, and so getting the return to do that is real fun. I'll be going to the show with my dad and my mom, and can't wait to do that this afternoon. So we're doing our podcast right now, and we'll get this out to you. Hopefully you're listening to our show right now on your radio when you do listen to this. But again, we are part of the Fanatical Elves Network. You can follow us on Apple, on Spotify. Just follow us, subscribe, just hit that follow button on Apple and give us a rating of 5 and submit that. And then you're going to be, anytime we have a show that pops up, we have one, it'll pop up on your phone or your iPad or your computer. And so you'll never miss a beat. We have so many great programs and so many great guys, as I talked about at the beginning of the show. Please follow us along. And if you have any interest in participating or being interviewed on our show, please email the show. We have an email. It's the elvesnetwork@gmail.com. That's elves. It's ELFZ network @gmail.com. You can, email the show if you have any interest in, being part of our programming. And we've had some really great guests on, and we're going to continue to have some excellent guests on in the future. So as we get closer to the Brown season, look forward to that. So we also have giveaways. We're giving away free stuff, folks. We gave away a free pair of tickets. We recently gave away tickets to the Browns versus Baltimore Ravens game in week 4. So congratulations to our winner there. So I was talking about the quarterback show on Netflix. If you get an opportunity, I would urge you to watch that. Not a lot of news going on in the world of Browns, but the part of the topic that has come up this week with Kevin Stefanski, the Browns head coach. I wrote an article for Northeast Ohio Sports Insiders, wonderful group of folks run by Natalie over there. And the article title was Job Security. Is it playoffs or bust for Kevin Stefanski? What is the bar? And that was really the main gist of the article. It wasn't necessarily that I hate Stefanski. some of you read the headlines. I hope you actually read the articles, but the headline was, what is really the bar? Is the bar winning the playoffs? If the Browns don't get to the playoffs, is Stefanski at risk of losing his job? Is there a certain number of wins that the team needs to get for him to keep his job? He's won 7 games. He's won 8 games. If he falls under that, let's say 6 games, what happens then? Is he fired if he has 6 games, or what were the circumstances? And then, like last night, we were talking with our contributors like Elliot and Sam. They were posing the question Elliot did about, what happens to our players like Nick Chubb and Myles Garrett if we only win 6 games, or let's say 7 games again, we're sub 500. Do those players stay with the team, or do the Browns start looking to trade them, or do those players demand a trade because the Browns aren't improving? And then does Stefanski have job security? I do not hate Kevin Stefanski. Let me repeat that. I do not hate Kevin Stefanski. I have written many articles about Kevin Stefanski. Many of them have been positive articles about Kevin. Yes, there have been some that have criticized his playmaking and some of the decisions he's made over the last 4 seasons. It probably didn't help that he came into the year, or came into his career with the Browns, by winning those games and getting the team to the playoffs in year 1. It's kind of set that bar high again, but it should be that high. The Browns on paper have one of the more talented groups this year. They've added depth everywhere, especially on the defensive side of the ball. They've added a new defensive coordinator, but with that comes time. It's going to take time to gel. But the problem is with the Browns season is they have that bye week in week 5. Those first 4 games, I feel, are monumental. They're playing all 3 teams in the division. And if they don't get off to a halfway decent start, if they're not 2-2 or 3-1 after those first 4 games, and they're on the opposite end, 0-4 or 1-3, this fan base, and this, I know this, how I'm going to feel. I'm going to be like, holy crap. Like, this is an issue. You have all this talent and you're not winning. The Browns opened the season against the Cincinnati Bengals. To Stefanski's credit, they're 5-1 against the Bengals. They have to win week 1. It's not like, okay, they can go 0-1. No, they have to win week 1. That will establish a good start. Now, they won week 1 a year ago against the Carolina Panthers, and everybody, including myself, got pretty excited about it. And then reality hit in week 2 when they should have easily won that game, walking away. They got up 2 touchdowns, 13 points with 2 minutes to go in the game. They should not have lost that game, and they blew it. The coaches blew it. The players blew it. They blew it. So they went from going potentially 2-0 to 1-1, and that sort of set the tone for a really rugged season. The Browns can't afford a rugged season. It's year 4. Stefanski needs to step up, do his job, be professional, and go about his business and win games. And if they don't, that bar, wherever it's set, it needs to be pretty high for him and his coaching staff. I would say probably if you win 7 or 8 games, even despite the fact what I've just said, and it's a sub 500 season, I don't think the Browns ownership, D and Jimmy Haslam, would potentially pull the trigger as far as letting him go and walk out of his job and fire him. But we'll see what happens. So I want to finish just real quickly on this Friday, July 14th, with a little fun tidbits. I was looking, and if you're watching me on the screen, I'm gathering my notes. There were some fun statistics that came out about how much money Browns fans or NFL fans are spending when they go to a typical game. So let's say you take a family of 4 to a game. So this would include like the game tickets. I don't know if it would include the game tickets. Let's see here. Is that what it says here? I'm looking through my notes here. I'm not sure if it includes the game tickets, but it would include, here it is. It would include 4 average price tickets, 2 beers, 4 soft drinks, 4 hot dogs, parking for the game, 2 game programs, and 2 additional ball caps, like some sort of apparel. So they did these calculations, and they've been keeping track. This is according to this group called U.S. Betting Report. And they gathered data for the last 10 years of all NFL, all major league franchises, including baseball and hockey. And this report just came out, but it shows kind of where each team is as far as that typical cost. And they have the Browns ranked number 2 as the most the most expensive, but what they don't really, you have to look at the details here. They've had the largest increase. They're not the most expensive with taking a family of 4 to a ball game, but they've had a 72% increase from 10 years ago. So typically, back in 2012, the Browns, a family of 4 who spent money on the hot dogs and the tickets and all that, spent $343. In 2022, last year, it increased to $593. That's a difference of $249, an increase of 72%. So that ranks number 2 as far as the percentage increase. Now, the number 1 increase was the Las Vegas Raiders. They went from $381 in 2012 to $738, a difference of $356, which is a 93% increase. Now, that's a big increase for both those teams. But really, if you look at the rest of the league, and I'm looking at some of these other teams here. So the Browns last year, a family of 4 going to a game would spend $593 on the tickets and all of that other stuff. But you have other teams that are higher than that, including the Philadelphia Eagles at $679, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers at $649. That also includes the Green Bay Packers, who are higher, the Seattle Seahawks, the San Francisco 49ers, the Los Angeles Rams, the Pittsburgh Steelers, the Minnesota Vikings, the Denver Broncos, even the Houston Texans. So you can see that there were numbers of NFL teams that are far more expensive to attend an NFL game. So even though you might hear stuff that says, oh, it's so expensive to go to a Cleveland game, it is an increase over the last 10 years for sure. But they're still one of the least expensive teams in the NFL, if that makes sense. So don't let all the numbers always trick you there. But yeah, it's pretty crazy. Some of these teams, it cost a lot. They compared it also to other just franchises around the country. And, like the Golden State Warriors who play basketball, to go to a game there, it would cost you $740. Now, this is crazy, but back in 2012, of course, the Warriors, well, that was right before they got pretty good. Their cost then was $260. That's a percentage change difference of 183%, which is just nuts. Very expensive to do that. So, you're talking San Francisco. It's going to be costly, but it still is relatively inexpensive if you are a Browns fan to attend those games. Hopefully you'll, I know it takes a lot. I mean, that is a lot of money. Anything, you're planning for a trip that's $500 or $600. That's not just an easy thing to do every weekend. So if you are taking your families and those sorts of things, I applaud you. And I hope you enjoy the game. That's why, in this day and age with the Browns and any of these teams that are playing, that's, it's expensive. And the fans, I mean, people say, well, the players don't, and then organizations don't care what the fans say and do. And I understand that argument. I get that. But it's an entertainment business. It's business. It's entertainment. And if you're going to have to shell out some money for that. So anyway, well, folks, I hope you have a good rest of your weekend. The weekend is just getting started, and looking forward to another group of shows this upcoming week with on Fanatical Elves Network. Again, thank you for tuning into my Johnny Cleveland podcast this week. I do not hate Kevin Stefanski. I do not hate Kevin Stefanski. And just want to make sure everybody out there knows that. Again, have a great day. And remember always to, that's right, keep smiling. Take care.